Hello, everybody, and welcome to another live stream here. We're going to take a look at Charlie Parker. Charlie Parker's playing on Blues for Alice. And so do a little analysis on that and think a little bit about the chord changes and kind of get a sense for how everything relates, how everything works here. So I'm gonna play with the Benedetto here, Benedetto Bravo. I don't play this a lot anymore, but I do practice on it a lot. So it's probably my most often, I guess you could say, what I meant by playing was I don't usually record or perform on it. But I do practice with it pretty often. It's kind of my go-to instrument that I work with. So let's see if we can get some volume kind of plugged in here. Got a lot of reverb here. Not sure what I was doing. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about the form before we dive in to the solo here, right? So we've got a blues form. Okay, we have F major, right? And then we have kind of a 2/5 to the relative minor, and then that's going to become its own 2 into a 5, and then we get the another 2/5, key of 2 flats. Okay, and then we're gonna land on B flat. So that's a 4 chord. And then that's gonna go minor 4. Okay. Now here we could go to F, or we could go to A minor. Give it a little bit of a 2/5, and A flat. Go to 2/5, back to a 2/5, and F, and then we can play some sort of turnaround. So that's the basic kind of form of the tune. So let's go through a little bit of the solo and get some specifics on what Charlie Parker played here. So I mentioned this is a video for the YouTube members, and thanks to those who are supporting the channel, really appreciate it. And then as a podcast, audio only. So if you want to see the video version of this and you're listening to this on the podcast, head over to youtube.com/fretprints, or you could go to fretprints.com. All right, let's look at the solo a little bit. Okay. So I'm referencing the Charlie Parker Omni book here. All right, so we start on the F. Okay, we have. Okay, so pretty inside sound there. My guitar neck here. The problem with this guitar actually is that it doesn't have any inlays. But anyway, let me give you a I was thinking about putting some stickers on it the other day. Almost ended up doing that. Maybe I'll even do that right now. Just put some little stickers on here just to have an idea where the 3rd fret is, where the 5th fret is, otherwise it's kind of hard to know. As a side note, I don't know if anybody follows Jimmy Bruno. I occasionally check him out, but he's got a guitar that was made by, what's his name, Bob Benedetto, I think, and it's got inlays. But normally Benedettos don't have the inlays. So they just have this kind of little flower. I'm not sure exactly what it is. It's an inlay of some kind. But they have that right on the 12th fret, but that's like kind of the only indicator. So hopefully this helps out a little bit on that. All right. So we're pretty kind of inside the sound. Oops. All sort of things going wrong here. Try this out. Okay. All right. So, one way to think about this is to just kind of get a sense for how each note relates to a chord, right? So we have F. You can see he plays a major 7, so it gives you a lot of clues about how he's hearing this sound. So this is a triplet. Okay, now let's check out what he has here, and then he goes A sharp to B natural. No key signature on this one. Okay, so okay, it's kind of setting things up. Okay, now we have E minor 7, flat 5 here. Okay, so we're gonna have, okay, that's kind of cool because we end up going kind of inside and outside of those two notes. All right, so using both of those two notes, I'm trying to get this into view a little bit better. I think I may have distorted the screen somehow. I'm not sure how to reset that, but okay. All right, so there in that second measure, right, we have E minor 7 flat 5. We have a D. Okay, B, C sharp. Okay, now we're getting into the A7, right? Okay, so just to go over that again. Okay, so on the A flat, we can hear the B flat. So that's a flat 9, and he's also gonna play the sharp 9 on that, so. Okay, and then he gets the D minor, plays the 11. Okay, and then we get this G7, and notice that note is a flat 13. Kind of setting up the minor that comes up here. Okay, so we get the C minor. to F7. Plays the root of that note. Okay, so let's see what he plays on this. So we get B natural. Okay, that's interesting. So we get the flat 9. Okay. And this is a great way to go through and then kind of explore chord voicing and things. See if you could harmonize a given note. Right? We get the B flat. That's the root note. And he's kind of playing those same 3 notes again. Okay, we get to B flat minor. Okay. Okay, going to E flat. Okay, E flat. Going to A minor. Kind of reading this up an octave here. Okay, now this is really kind of important because it outlines the chord changes. The chord changes are going pretty rapidly here, right? We hit the B flat. Okay, he plays. Okay, and then we get to this A minor. Okay, so we get from that E flat landing on the root note there. Okay, so on the end of the beat, right, just before the chord changes, right? So that's an important feature there. Okay, and then we get to G minor. Now it's a similar kind of line to what we had earlier on the A7. So that's interesting. We have that. But here we go in this direction. So okay. So I'm gonna move up 1 line over here. Okay. So that gives us a little idea of what some of the things that he might be kind of thinking about there. All right, so let's see what we have next. Okay, so we get this D sharp. He's probably kind of targeting this E, right? Because E is the 3rd, and that can strongly identify the C7. That's the 3rd of that chord. So it's probably kind of going and thinking about that 3rd. Okay, and then we're going up here. We hit the 3rd again. Okay, that gets that 3rd again. Okay, good. And then F7. He plays a B flat on that, so it's a sus sound. Okay, so let's check out what might be kind of going on there, sort of towards the end of that line. What he may be doing there is delaying the resolution of that sound there. Okay, so if we have an F7, the B flat's going to be pretty clear dissonance on that chord. So let's survey some of these notes. So B flat, G, C, B flat. Okay, now that has a lot to do with that. That's 3 notes of a C7 chord. So okay, so he might be continuing to think about that at least for a moment. Now we get AF. Okay, so that does sound like the F. So he may be resolving there, and then kind of steps back out again. Okay, and check out these 2 notes. So where do they sit? They both sit a half step away from 2 chord tones for F7. Okay, so listen to what this sounds like. Okay, so it's like, okay, so we get, so here it steps out. steps back in. So we get F, steps back out, and then back in. So it's like a kind of little half steps. Like he goes to F, takes you out a little bit, and then back in to it. All right, well, let's take a little break here on that, and I'll do a little playing. Double check the tuning here on this guitar, and I'll check the live stream. So this is a really important component of soloing, is analyzing sort of another musician's lines, especially a great musician like Charlie Parker was. So it can really give us some insights and give us some things to take. So you can do this. You could do a few things with this. You could take the exact lines and kind of replicate them, add them into your own vocabulary. And as you might say, it's kind of like that. You start spending time around certain people or in a certain part of the country or part of the world, and you start to pick up certain phrases. You start to pick up certain words, certain ways of saying certain words. Accents and language and grammar and all these kinds of things. So similar for us to, and of course people might read and become influenced by that as well. So the same thing for us. We could actually read somebody else's solo. We can listen to their solo, and just to kind of internalize, gain influence. You can really deliberately work at developing certain phrases, and you can also just kind of absorb things. All right, so we had a little breather there. Let's go back and check out a little bit more of the solo here. All right. Okay, so let's see what we've got here. Okay, we're gonna play. All right, well, we have, should I bring that down an octave? What do we have there? So we have F major triad. Okay, you see on the C7 just before that we have the E, so that's a real fundamental resolution there, right? The T, Do, right? Okay, it gets up to the major 7, so we can hear that, you know, he's thinking major 7 on these F at both times here. So okay, well, we have this tone. We land here on the G. That's the 9, and you see we play chromatically up from the 7. Okay. Okay. So this is passing, right? It may seem pretty outside, but it's a short duration, and it's getting us to the G. Right. All right, and then kind of plays that again on the way down. All right, that's pretty cool. So you get, so you can also take concepts, you know, from this. All right, well, we have two tones. Let's say chord tones. C F major 7. I think this is F major 7, or F major 9. So two fairly consonant tones anyway, and we're kind of bouncing back and forth between those two. Okay. All right. Now we get on this next chord. I always find this interesting to see what an improviser plays on as far as a 6 on a half diminished chord here. So we have the major 6. Now sometimes improvisers will think in terms of just the dominant as well, especially in quicker tunes. So this may be more of like a C sharp on the A7, so that would be more of a third. And if we actually listen to some of these notes, those are all chord tones for A7, so that may be the case. This is, again, a very common rhythm. We've seen this come up quite a few times already. Okay, so we get the flat 9, sharp 9, back to the flat 9. Here we're ending on the root note, right? So we have okay, so that's pretty cool. That's all E minor 7 flat 5 to A7, and those are closely related chords as a progression, 2-5. All right. Okay, so that's pretty cool. So we get a chord that has a natural 5. It plays the flat 5 on it. So that's going to sound pretty bluesy. That's a nice, you could play that on anything really, a rock tune, anything. It's a nice line there. Okay, now saying is going to the A natural, and I'm going to have to assume for the purpose of this video that this transcription is correct, but that is a whole other story. But okay, and then he plays kind of the same rhythm, and then we get to C minor and F7, right, and we get these two tones. Get to the B flat, to the 4 chord, right? So Charlie Parker wrote this tune, so this really gives us really great insights into what he's kind of thinking about, or maybe his way that he wants to color certain moments. Okay, so this is a very dominant 7 type of line. So he's kind of thinking that B flat 7. Okay. All right, so that's pretty cool. So we get B flat 7. He's gonna play this. Okay, so we're getting the 5th of the B flat minor. Okay, and moving from there, I'll make sure I'm scrolling. I'll try to keep this on kind of the top line here. Okay, we get the root note, and this is a great way, to practice is just even just harmonize every tone, or maybe move it up an octave. Try different ways of voicing the top note. Okay, so we get a lot of chord tones here on the A minor, right? We get A, C, E. Those are all chord tones, and then we get the flat 9. Okay. All right, so we get the 3 chord, that flat, that B flat, right? Gives us an idea. He's most like thinking about our tonal center, like we talked about in previous talks here, talking about the, in this case, key of F. So we can get this to scroll over here a little bit. Fix this up. All right, so let me take a little break here again and maybe do a little playing. Let me see here if I can get that fixed up a little bit here in the meantime. So that looks a little better. Actually, let's go a little further because I want to land here on the end of the form anyway. So looks like my microphone is slowly falling, which it was kind of doing that before. So let me just mute that for just a moment. Okay, so hopefully that stays up there like that, and let's do a little more playing. So each time, you move through a little bit of the tune, you might do it like this, just kind of take some moments to maybe not play some exact lines, but try to experiment with some of the maybe choices of notes that he used there. Okay, so let's carry on a bit further here and check some more things. Checking a few more things here. Let's see, where were we on this? You know, I think we did stop a little early. That last chorus, so let's make sure we pick up on that. Okay, so we have, right, like I said, kind of harmonizing some of these notes. That's interesting. Okay. Okay, that's a B major triad. Okay, that's cool. Okay, so that on the, okay, that doesn't make sense. So we're on the A flat, right? So okay, we get this. Okay, so that makes sense there. Okay. Okay, so what's he doing there? Let's check that out. All right, so we get, okay, well that does, that points to the 6, which is somewhat consonant on G minor. That points to the root. Okay, and then this is a chord tone. Okay, and this is a chord tone. This is a chord tone. So we have just a couple things that are little pointing towards certain notes. So as you go ascending, it's going up to the 6, and then up to the root note. Okay, so that's all making sense. Okay, and then we get, so we have some alterations there. We have on that C7, we have a flat 9 sound. Okay. And then we have a slight delayed resolution on that. So ends on the so here this tone, B flat on the major 7, B flat is a dissonance there, so it sort of delays the and then he ends on the 9, and then he gets finally to the 5th, but that's interesting because then he's already on the turnaround there. All right, so pretty cool. So checked out a couple of choruses here. Thanks for checking this video out. I hope you all enjoyed it. Like, gives you some idea of a process that you could work through, and also some specifics on what you might try to play and adopt in your lines and all that. All right, everybody. Well, thanks for watching, and I will see you all in the next one. Have a great practice session.